Every payday in 1970s Kuwait, tens of thousands of Palestinians, teachers, engineers, doctors, opened their pay packets and found about 5% gone. Kuwait's government had deducted it at source and passed it to the Palestine Liberation Organization. It was called voluntary. An American cable in 1969 put that word in quotation marks. Part 2. How exiles built the richest liberation movement on earth. The PLO did everything a government does. But governments run on taxes, and it had no country to tax. Its treasury had three streams. The first was the kings. In 1967, the Arab states had lost a war fought in Palestine's name, and their people were furious. Paying proved a king was still committed, and bought him a say in what the fighters did next. At Rabat and Baghdad, the oil states pledged hundreds of millions. By the late 70s, roughly $250 million a year, Saudi Arabia the largest donor. The second was the tax, 3 to 7% of Palestinian wages across the Arab world. In Kuwait, Palestinians were nearly half the public payroll. Could a man refuse? The record does not say. On a government salary, it was gone before he saw it. The third, the PLO, built itself. A refugee camp workshop that began with 6 sewing machines grew in Beirut into a conglomerate grossing $40 million a year, one of Lebanon's largest employers. The profits went abroad, held in other men's names. One account, its treasury chief said later, sat at the Arab Bank in Zurich. The money bought what no movement in exile ever had: embassies in 100 countries, schools, clinics, pensions for the families of dead fighters, and militias in half a dozen states, about a quarter of the budget. Because it came from many hands, no single king could switch it off. That was the point. But a treasury with no country had no auditor and no public books. In 1995, American congressional investigators tried to count it. The PLO would not open its books. The famous claim, the richest terrorist organization on earth, worth $10 billion, came from a British police unit with no terrorism brief, from an author who refused to show one document. It never said where the money went. They could confirm farms, a film studio, a shoe factory. Even the cautious count, 3 to 5 billion, said its own treasury chief, was money no movement in exile had ever seen. The empire was real. The books were sealed. And sealed books breed stories, that Moscow built the PLO, that Arafat pocketed billions, that the CIA had his inner circle on the payroll. Follow to find out which ones are true. Part 3. Proven or debunked.